Alright everyone, we've come here today for an Ed and Eddie Silver and Blue special, a burning question that's been on all Cowboys fans' mind over the past 6 weeks. What's wrong with Dak?
Welcome back. Let's go!
So unless you've been living on another planet or have no interest in professional football, it's very clear that the way Dak started out is not how he's been playing. After the first 6 weeks of the season, for some reason, and many reasons I believe, Dak has regressed to mediocrity.
Yeah, below average in a lot of other cases. I mean, it's definitely such an odd thing to see because, you know, from the beginning of last year before his big season-ending injury and as well as in the beginning of this season, it's night and day different. He looks very mediocre, below average, however you want to spin it. And luckily, we're a good enough team that we've been able to make up for it this month of December and we've been winning, but it's very concerning.
Right, and a lot of people have suggested a lot of different reasons why, and we're going to talk about a few of those. Let's just run down some of this list. I think it's important to point out Dak's calf injury. That's the turning point. Before that, he was having a lights-out year, surefire comeback player of the year, potential MVP candidate.
Yeah.
But since that calf injury, he missed a game, and then he came back and has not looked the same since. Before the calf injury, he had 16 TDs and 4 picks. Since then, he's got 9 TDs and 6 picks.
There's a few things you can kind of tell. Like, one, he looks a little bit shell-shocked at times. 2, he doesn't take off and run, and that was a big dynamic of his game. That part of is what made Dak a top 10 quarterback, was his ability to run, averaging for a span like 6 rushing touchdowns a year, and now it just looks like he's either afraid to, doesn't want to re-aggravate it.
Maybe the coaches told him not to. I've heard that theory thrown out there. The big leg injury last year probably has a lot to do with the decisions not to run. And fact of the matter is, he hasn't been the same since the calf injury.
There's more than just the calf injury. If it were that simple, it'd be like, oh, calf injury, oh, that's it. But there's a lot that's been going on that's kind of affected him.
There's other reasons, though, and other things that people have thrown out there as potential reasons why. Number one is the injuries to Tyron Smith.
Oh, yeah.
He's missed some games, and we all know over Dak's whole career, he's just not the same when Tyron's not over there.
No, and I mean, you could insert any quarterback when your best offensive lineman, but yeah, when your franchise Hall of Fame left tackle is out, you know, you tend to do worse. And Steele and Ty have kind of filled in admirably. They've tried, and it's been mixed results, but you can definitely tell Dak doesn't feel safe or he doesn't trust the pocket when those two are in.
Exactly. And combining with that is the musical chairs that the coaches have played with the right tackle position and the left guard position. Intentions were all good, you know, what the coaches were trying to do, but shuffling those guys around has provided inconsistency and hasn't helped Dak for the same reasons you said.
And, you know, bless him, too, at the left guard position. You know, Connor Williams, he's a very solid run blocker, very poor pass blocker, and very penalty prone. And McGovern, God bless him, and he's probably the best fullback we've had in a while, but the guy, he's just kind of a below average guard.
I like that they put Connor Williams back there, though. And frankly, I was among the folks calling for McGovern to get in there after some of those penalties.
Me too.
But we all realized real quick that that's not working out, and I'm glad they put Connor Williams back in.
And this is the other thing, kind of tying to the line, as any football fan knows, our run game for a while was very ineffective, and it showed with Dak. Because, you know, any football fan will tell you, when the run game's going, passing game works, everything opens up, QB's fine.
Yep, absolutely. How about poor play calling? I've heard people mention that's one of the reasons that Dak's not doing as well, is the play calling. And Kellen Moore, boy, the boy wonder went quick, turned into Jason Garrett 2.0.
And you know what? If this was his first time ever doing that, I'd be more, you know, but how many times have we seen him just light it up, super crazy play calling, just a wizard in the first 3 or 4 games, and then after that, he just goes total Garrett.
Eddie and I made a point of watching some of the early game highlights from this season, and man, they were having jet sweeps and fake jet sweeps and shuffle passes,
halfback slip screens.
You know, where the hell's all this been lately?
No, and that's the other thing too, is we would get so much more and stop so many of those heavy inside blitzes if we would just do simple screens with the halfback. We don't do that enough, and teams are picking up on it. Well, if they're not going to do a screen, we might as well just blitz them heavy.
And I know I'm not a pro, but Kellen, stop doing wide receiver screens so often and stop running up the middle on 1st and 10. Little hint, pro tip.
Makes too much sense. Last but not least, and this is one I've been extremely critical of our team for, are the drops. And not only are drops terrible for field position, but it affects Dak's psyche. Because when your top guys drop a lot of passes, you no longer feel like you can trust them. You try to do too much on your own. You look for others when they're not clearly open. And I think that's a big thing for him too. I mean, if we're really just looking at 4 games, Tampa Bay, Denver, Oakland, and even last week, dude, we've had at least 16 to 20 drops in those games.
Right.
Lamb has at least 10, which is amazing because the guy is a near Pro Bowl level receiver. Yet,
and you add 3 or 4 more receptions per game in the appropriate yardage, another 20 to 30 yards per game. Dak's stats don't look nearly as bad, and frankly, it would probably help his confidence quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I remember that was with the Denver one. He threw like a little bit over 50%. I'm like, but we had like 4 or 5 drops that game.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's at least 15-20% in his completion percentage just by catching the ball.
So that was last but not least for you, and I've actually got a couple more. Number 1 is Dak himself. He deserves a lot of the blame. I think he is part of it, whether it's his confidence, whether it's mechanics, I'm not sure, but Dak is to blame for a lot of the problems of what's going on.
I'm hoping that as a seasoned veteran, someone who's been there, I think he will turn it around.
Oh, he absolutely will. My final thing, and this is the most important reason why Dak's not having a great year and why it's fallen off so much in the past month and a half, is the last 3 weeks have all been road games. The ones before that, we had 3 weeks wrapped around about 12 days wrapped around Thanksgiving. They haven't had much time to practice. Not having the practice time from when he got back to his injury and having guys out with their own injuries, I think all that combined more than anything else lately with what caused his quick downfall. But last week, he started to come out of a shell a little bit. I thought he played pretty good. And now that they're at home, after 3 straight road weeks, they're at home. They got more practice time. They got all their guys back. Their horses are healthy. Look for Dak to have a breakout game this week.
You know what? That's an excellent point. Not a lot of people talk about that. And, just like anyone else does throughout any part of life, if you don't know what to do, you're just going to revert back to what works or what's safe. And I think Kellen's been doing a lot of that. Oh, our new line shuffled. All right, it was just a standard dive. We can't mess it up. Or, they're blitzing heavy. What have we always done? Wide receiver screen. Oh, okay, yeah.
Teams have caught on to it big time. Maybe Mike McCarthy has to step in a little bit, take over a little bit of that, because he was a bit of an offensive guru for a while.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, what are your thoughts? You think Dak's going to be back on track soon? Let us know in the comments.
And if you enjoyed the video, everyone, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Because remember, every time you hit that like button, an Eagles fan cries. All right, everybody. See you Sunday.